Salutations, I'm Salty. Welcome back to 2 Cents Toys, and today we are doing our 100th video. I need a second to take that in. Okay, I've had my second. And we're going to be talking about the Mezco 112 cable. Now, this is technically not my first Mezco. If you watch the DFW G.I. Joe and Action Figure Toy Show haul, I got a Johann Kraus from Hellboy. He is Mezco, but old Mezco, so this is my first, new Mezco that everyone's getting into with all the superheroes that they're doing. I picked this up from my main man, Seth Hastings at Plastic Galaxy. I will put links in the description to his Facebook, his Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. He is my most trusted toy dealer, period. When it comes to vintage, I trust him beyond anyone else to know if something's complete, what's repro, what isn't. He's my guy. So I picked this up from him. It was about $100, and I've been waiting for what feels like 2 years for this figure to come out because it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. He finally got it and passed it on to me. Without further ado, let's go over the box and everything else. You see we get this plastic kind of sleeve over the slip cover to protect it. Get a big X cable, Mezco 112 Marvel. On this side, just blue. It says Mezco Toys down here at the bottom. Another X. This side is the same. On the top, it says 112 Collective Pose Play Display. I intend to. On the bottom, ages 18 and up, not a toy for children, intended for adult collectors only. Hey, just like my channel, intended for adult collectors only. On the back, we get this lovely workup of the figure, everything that's going to come inside of it. You know, it just all these awesome still shots that I've been looking at for what feels like for freaking ever. I'm so excited. Alright, here it comes. Just kidding. I know it's hard to make out because he's got all this plastic crap all over him, but that's what it looks like without the slip cover on it. Mezco 112, and on the back, you get I forget the name of this mascot, the big ant. Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. Here's Cable without all the plastic crap in front of him, and I'm blown away. I'm really, really impressed. I haven't messed with the figure yet, and Cable is my favorite X-Men, hands down, or favorite mutant, I should say. Probably, yeah, my favorite Marvel character, end of story. Him and Bishop are my two favorite. It's gonna affect the review, I know it is, so, you know, just bear with me on that. I'm gonna try and call out flaws when I see it, but, you know, he is my favorite, so it's going to be hard for me to not be like, oh, it's Cable, I love it. So I'm going to pull out each thing individually, and we're going to look at it up close, and then we'll go over the figure and posing and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to start off with this extra head sculpt, his kind of, you know, get ready to kick your ass head sculpt, and I'm blown away by this. The plastic it's made out of looks lifelike. The, you know, wash on the hair is fantastic. It's just enough to bring out the detail, but not so much to, you know, turn his white hair black or gray or anything. And there's no paint bleeding, like, at all. Not on the eyebrows, not on the eyes, not on the hair, nowhere. They did a great job. And then we have this combat knife that comes with him. The paint apps, again, are great. It's got enough wear on it to where it looks like it happened naturally, and it's not like blotchy paint or messed up paint. It's not quite as, you know, metallic or shiny silver chrome that I would like, you know, without vac metallizing or using those Molotov chrome pens. I know it's kind of asking a lot, but no pun intended. Very sharp looking, crisp. There's no bend. It looks great. I love this thing. And next we have his sidearm. Again, no paint bleed, just enough weathering to make it look like it's been through some shit. I'll talk about it later, but there's also like almost all these weapons, with the exception of the big rifles, there's a place to store them on the figure. And to me, especially if you're going to give us a bunch of little things, there needs to be a way to store them on the figure on display. Next, we have a trigger hand for both the left and the right. The gloved hand has great paint apps. There's just, I don't know how they do it. I mean, for the price point, I understand they kind of have to do it because he's around $100, but there's like no paint bleeding. Everything looks great. There's even detail on the inside of the hand. Like, you can't beat that. On the left hand, so his robot arm, again, just enough weathering to make it look like it's been through stuff. You know, not overdone with the black, with the detail and the wash. Like, details inside the hand. Accessory hands for the left and the right again. I guess these are for like the knife or, the scimitar, which is in the other version of cable. I forgot to mention there's another Mezco 112 cable that came out. I picked this version because it's closest to the version of cable that's my favorite version. So I didn't get the scimitar, unfortunately. These could hold the knife. It's the same amount of detail that goes into it. I'm kind of gushing over here. Sorry. And then we got the left and the right kind of open hands, or just grabbing onto someone or something. Any number of things. Or if you can find a grenade, you can give that to him and he can hold it in these hands. Next, we have big ass gun number 1. It's kind of like a photon, like grenade launcher almost. I love the look of this thing. It's futuristic for Cable's timeline, but it also looks like kind of rooted in our reality a little bit. It's got like these Picatinny rails on the sides here, quad rails for the people who play COD and think they know anything. If I can get it, it's kind of difficult, but these charges actually rotate. It's hard to, there we go. It's hard to get in there and get it to do it, but they rotate. That's pretty damn cool to me. It'd be even better if there's a way to like open this up so it could look like he's in the middle of a reload, but this thing's awesome. We have 2 kind of charge packs. They're identical in Paint App. They got these grooves and stuff. It's really awesome. I love the look of them. I'm hoping there's a place to store the extra one on the figure, but I'll show you what they're for. And last up, we have the next big ass gun. And this one's my favorite because translucent green. You know me and my translucents. I can't get enough of it. Futuristic, fits in with his timeline. It's got 2 handles on it, so it's like just enough to look futuristic, but still be kind of rooted semi in reality. But you'll see grooves hiding in here, and these grooves on this thing kind of line up and they plug in. So you can have a magazine, you can have them in the middle of a reload or something. Gives you some options, things to work with. Would you believe that my dumbass forgot to talk about the stand that comes with them? It's completely badass. I love the design of it. It's got a foot peg if you want to use the foot peg. It's got some weight to it, and I don't know if that detail is showing up, but you are able to push this out and put a flight stand in its place. I have not figured out how to do that efficiently because it's in there, and I don't want to ruin it any more than I already have. You can see some of the teeth marks where I took some pliers and tried to pull it out, so my bad. Which of course brings us to Cable himself. He's a little clunky. He's got some pretty bulky armor, and I got some little extra threads hanging out on him, but nothing I can't work around or, fix on my own. I know what you're thinking. It's articulation time. And you're correct. That's about all the further that he can look up. That's about all the further he can look down. He can look side to side. He gets a pretty good amount of tilt. The shoulder comes up at a 90. It doesn't quite spin 360. It runs into the shoulder pads, but they do have a little bit of a little give to them. So that's about as far as he can go forward. That's as far as he can go back. If you want to spin 360, you can always go up and out for that method, but I don't know why you would. He's got a bicep swivel that is kind of hard to work independently of the shoulder. The whole arm kind of wants to rotate. Double jointed elbows come up just past 90. He's got that sort of import articulation in the wrist, so it's got that like swivel hinge swivel. So, the hand can swivel around. That's not even the ball movement, that's just swiveling up on its own. And it's got the hinge allows it to go in or out, and you rotate and you go up and down, all that kind of stuff. His armor's a little bulky, and that's about as far forward as he can lean. He can lean back a little bit further. He can kick forward at a 90, kick back a little bit more, then, say a Marvel Legend or someone like that. Kick out at a complete 90. He's giving Spider-Man a run for his money. Double jointed knees come up that far. He's got a swivel down here at the boot, and not a lot of ankle articulation, unfortunately, just due to the size of the boots. You can see that it's there, but there's just not a lot. So he can't really go forward with his feet, can't really go back either. Get some semblance of a rocker, and that's really about it. Yeah, he's a little clunky, but he's also Cable. He's not Spider-Man, he's not, I don't know, Puma or Shang-Chi or anyone like that. He's Cable, he's a big bruiser guy. $100, you get the cloth goods, you get this incredible sculpt. It's not that bad, I really like it. Plus there's this. So he does light up. I know I'm kind of blurring out the camera right now, but that's because I've got all the lights off. It also lights up here in the back. So I'll turn these lights back on so maybe you can actually see some of the detail going on here. See, and that's what it looks like with the lights on. So you can actually see the X. You can see his eye lighting up. It's super, super cool. And as much as I love the lights, I'm going to take the batteries out more than likely because I know I'm not going to leave them on, and I do not want the batteries to blow up in his back and ruin everything. So super cool. Super cool gimmick, but I'm going to be taking these batteries out just to save the action figure. Now let's go over some detail. So here's some of the detail in this figure. Like, I had to do up close just so you could see the amount of detail went into the sculpt. Like, this is his normal kind of, discerning grimace head. It's got the same awesome paint apps. The wash isn't as severe on this head sculpt, but it's still there. There's a lot of, battle damage and dings on the armor, especially across here through the chest. You can see he's been hit a couple times. There's a layer of silver just underneath with some blacks and some browns to kind of dirty it up a little bit. You can see the cloth goods hidden underneath there. That's a separate chunk of armor right here down at the belly, so that'll crunch in when he bends forward. He's got all these extra pouches straight out of the 90s. And the awesome kind of patinas and the damages from like all the kicking and the running that he's done with these giant shit kicker boots. All this kind of dirt that's done on top. The detail on this thing is incredible. And then you get all this kind of rust down here at the bottom, all this detail underneath the feet and where the peg holes are at. They knocked it out of the park. Like, I'm really still blown away by this figure. Some of the things I wanted to show you, I mentioned earlier, are the places for storage. And you can see this kind of looks like a safari land kind of holster, but you can see that you can stow the pistol in the front. It looks a little weird just due to the angular design of the pistol. It doesn't quite line up exactly right, but that's the way it fits in. And here on the side, we have the sheath for the knife, which does a great job of stowing. There's even that line that runs along the knife that they cut out in the sheath for. They accounted for that when they did that design. One thing I don't like is how high the belt kind of rides up, like it rides at an angle. It's a little, not off-putting, but just looks strange to me. And so these vents in the back, this sculpt is done so well, you wouldn't even know this is where the batteries are supposed to go. Like, you pop that straight up, you unscrew that, and you put the batteries in, you flip it on, and that's how the lights work. And then you slide that back down, and you can't even tell the batteries are there. They did a really good job integrating this design into the battery compartment. And there it is, folks. That's the Mezco 112 cable in a nutshell, and I'm really glad I got them. It was $100. That's really steep for a lot of people. It was steep for me, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad I got him. He's going to do wonderful things in my collection of Cable figures that you see before you. Like I said, Cable is my favorite Marvel character, so I do have a lot of figures of him. I don't have every version, like the Toy Biz ones. There were a lot of Cables. I don't have the original release Marvel Legend of Cable. He is my favorite character, so anytime I come across one, even like the, Deep Sea Cable from Toy Biz, I pick him up. Cable's my favorite Marvel character, especially my favorite mutant. Would I recommend it for $100 unless you really love Cable? Just pass on it because that is a high price tag. But if you love Cable as much as I do, I don't think you'll regret it. If you like the figure and you like the review or you like Cable, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I've experienced a lot of channel growth over the last couple months, and it's meant the world. Like, other YouTubers will tell you, you do hit a lull, and it kind of gets hard to keep going. But watching all the positive feedback from you guys really, puts a fire in my belly and makes me do more of these videos. So thank you so much for watching my 100th video. I'm glad that you all were here to see it. Here's to 100 more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Salty, signing off.